Hi everyone, good day. It's me again, Jerome Sibala, and welcome back to my channel. And shout out to all the real dreamers, fighters, and bionic armies out there. Thank you very much for your continued support. And to everyone who has believed in our channel, who has supported by liking and commenting and sharing our videos, my heart is filled with gratitude for your unending support. So thank you very much. And once again, welcome back to our English Tidbit. And today we're going to feature the simple tenses in the English language. Now, just so you know, tense determines the form of the verb in sentences, and it is also correlated with real time. And when we talk about real time, we're talking about clock time. Hence, differences in time of occurrence would lead to different forms of the verb. So one thing to consider when we're talking about the simple tenses is the clock time. So when we're talking about the simple tenses, it may be the simple past, it may be the simple present, or it may be the simple future. Now let's talk about the simple present tense. In the present tense, verbs can be used for different time-related situations to include number one, if we're talking about a fact. Or number two, if we're talking about habitual or ongoing action. And number three, when we're talking about a future action that is definite and or immediate to happen. Now, in my first example, we use the simple present tense when we're talking about a fact. So I'll give you an example. If I say the earth rotates on its axis, so this is a fact, this is a given fact, so we use the simple present tense. So there is no need to, we don't use a future marker for this because we are talking about a fact. Okay? Or if we're talking about a habitual action. So I'll give you an example. During winter, the days quietly shorten. So the verb there is shorten. We don't put an ed or use a marker for that because that is an ongoing or habitual action. It happens every year. It happens every winter. And if we're talking about a future action that is definite or immediate to happen, so we use the simple present too. For example, I leave for San Francisco at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Again, I leave for San Francisco at 8 a.m. tomorrow. There is no need to use a future marker since we're talking about a future action, but that is definite or immediate to happen. But take note that it doesn't make it incorrect if we're gonna use a future marker. So you can say, I will leave for San Francisco tomorrow at 8 a.m. or I leave for San Francisco tomorrow at 8 a.m. Now, let's talk about the simple past tenses. The past tense is more often used when talking about past action or if we're talking about contrary to fact meaning in the present. Now, I'll give you an example, or I'll give you a sentence that is in a past action. So when I say, I wanted your help yesterday, that expressed something in the past, right? I wanted your help yesterday. I wanted your love. When you say I wanted your love, meaning I don't need it anymore. Right? That is in the past action. Or we use the simple past tense if we're talking about a sentence that expresses contrary to fact meaning in the present. I'll give you an example. If I wanted you to help me now, I would ask you. So again, if I wanted you to help me now, I would ask you. So that is a contrary to fact meaning in the present. Wanted, and then we use now. But I don't mean to complicate things, so I rarely use this rule in the simple past tense. But just so you know, we use the simple past tense if we're talking about a past action or if we're talking about a sentence that expresses contrary to fact meaning in the present. And lastly, let's talk about the simple future tenses. The simple future tense is usually composed of the present tense form of the verb with a future marker will or be going to combined with a basic form of the verb and expresses action that is yet to take place. Now take note, however, since we're talking about future markers, you have to avoid using will and be going to because that will result to redundancy. That's redundant. You're using a will that is a future marker and be going to, and that is a future marker. And that's a very common error, especially when we say I will be going to Manila. That's redundant to say. because you can improve it by saying I will go to Manila or I am going to Manila, but never ever use two future markers in one sentence by saying I will be going to Manila. Simple future has two different forms of English, will and be going to. And both will and be going to refer to a specific time in the future. Like when you say you will help him later or you will help him tomorrow, will you help him tomorrow? Now take note that we use will especially when we are promising something. So will is used, or it's usually used in promises. Just like when Whitney Houston said, I will always love you, Whitney promised to always love you because will is used for promises. On the other hand, be going to expresses that something is a plan. It expresses the idea that a person intends to do something in the future. However, it does not matter whether the plan is realistic or not. So take note that we use will for promises and we use be going to for if you're planning on something. Now, both will and be going to can express the idea of a general prediction about the future, and predictions are guesses about what might happen in the future. Like when I say in the year 2021 or next year will be a very interesting year. The year 2021 will be a very interesting year. Or the year 2021 is going to be a very interesting year. So both will do about general predictions. So I hope you learned something today. We just talked about the simple past, the simple present, and the simple future. And I'll see you in our next tidbit. Thank you very much. Kamsahamnida.